All right, another video review. This one for Raymond Chandler's Philip Marlowe #2, Farewell, My Lovely. This is June 16th, 2024. Finally finished it. Not that it was bad, it just was a busy time, and the only snippets of respite I got, I opened up the book and read it while I had some downtime, which was solid, which was really good. I don't have it beating The Big Sleep. I guess, spoiler, don't have it beating it. It is maybe a little bit behind. Maybe a little bit behind it in quality. Philip Marlowe, he comes up against a lot of adversity this one. He goes, it feels like a lot more places, like the area that he kind of roves and explores is kind of almost twice as large. It feels like you're in a different city. You're in Bay City a little bit. It feels like the cast is a bit bigger. The mystery itself, I felt like I got it earlier. I definitely, at least a big portion of it I got earlier. Not all the little bits and pieces, or that a picture of Velma, what was her name? That Velma that he was shown was actually a fake, that he kind of knew, but it wasn't said, that kind of thing. But I didn't need something like that. I knew the main girl, forget her name, the high society lady, right? The one very rich and who kind of came on to Philip a bit, who hired him for the case. She was this, let's call her a dancer, nicely. She was a dancer previously, and then she somehow got her way into the pockets of this very rich man, older guy, and that's who she is now. That's her new identity, right? So kind of got that. The first murder, Marriott, his part to play was a little bit harder, and that was the main focus of the book was him and how he fit in the puzzle. He was a pretty big piece of that pie, right? There were, the beginning of the book, the first 20% of the book, you're dealing with something else entirely, right? It feels like at first. It ends up wrapping together with the next thing, which was good. So everything was cohesive and good. However, it did feel, I knew that it was going to connect. Otherwise, it would be just like a bad book, a short story, and then the rest of the story tacked on to a different story entirely. But them being separate until the end, I don't know, it didn't feel as, I didn't like the pacing or the cohesiveness, or the lack of seemingly cohesiveness that I felt while I was reading. It wasn't as good of a read. Obviously, at the end, I know everything connected, and I got that before it ended. However, just the initial feel of it, it just didn't feel as neat as Big Sleep. But if that's some of the only complaints, whatever, right? It's a solid detective mystery novel. I do really appreciate Philip Marlowe. He is he's what a noir detective should be, right? He is capable, but not incredibly so. He was getting manhandled and he was able to be manhandled by multiple people. He's not going in guns blazing and killing a bunch of people. There's a scene towards the end where he gets help to sneak on this boat, which has a whole bunch of people on it. They knock out one guard, but he's pretty easily found soon after that, right? And he talks his way to safety, basically, and help and all this, which is exactly what this detective should be. He looks at danger and he smiles and he takes it, right? Whatever comes, and smokes and drinks and does what he does alone and by himself, right? Every now and again, gets some dames, right? But at the end of the night, he's going home for his, couple, $100, right? Or $1,500 or something at the most, for a life and death 3-week case that goes over and over and over again. And he didn't even definitely did not get that much, but he just is a guy who's after a mystery. He's after the job. He's truly there for the job and not the money, which I didn't feel like on what is that, Maltese Falcon. That guy, I forget his name even. What is it, like Sid or something? The main character, who's commonly and often referred to as like devilish looking, a blonde devil. He did not feel like a detective for the work of being a detective. He said it a few times, but it always seemed like begrudgingly so. He didn't feel like he was, as mentioned before, he wasn't some moral figure who was there for the greater good or to solve a mystery even, right? He kind of did it, it felt like, because that's what he was good at, maybe, and that's it. Well, Philip Marlowe, he seems like a real stand-up guy that would be in the police force if the police force wasn't so, let's say, had their hands tied in a bunch of cases, or had better leadership, right? And he got out but continued the work of a good cop, right? That's a good PI, a really solid main character in this kind of novel, and he continues to be that character, which is good. He's funny. He's a funny guy too, which helps. He has like zero respect for any of these folk, and that's always fun. I do plan on reading a third one, but I might have a book in between just to change it up, maybe get out of the detective field for a little bit. Maybe read like a Malazan book or something. Who knows? Get crazy with it. But I do intend on continuing this series as long as they like stay in this kind of ballpark of like a one solid case onto the next, which I really like. I've talked enough about how Dresden Files disappointed me. This one has yet to, and I don't think hard-boiled detectives work too well, at least in the Dresden Files. That guy would be eaten for lunch, it feels like, real quickly in this world, which Philip takes. Burner's going off. No one else is here. Well, on to the next book. This one gets a little bit lower than the last one.